Hey, welcome back. Just woke up, want to get this out of the way. God damn, I'm sure I look like shit. That's fine. Next day notes. We're 0-4. Try not to go too detailed in the game because what's the fucking point? But Louisville was winning, 31-13 and a half. They essentially cruised in the second half. They didn't score a point in the second half. Probably knowing that we couldn't score more than 31. But here we are, man, 0-4 for the first time since 1974. And what I really want to talk about is not so much the game, is like I did last week, about the program as a whole and what's going on, right? Last night on Twitter, I put out a short video responding to a Doc Staples tweet I saw. Maybe I could go read his profile. Maybe he said some other things to criticize the staff. But this particular tweet kind of bothered me a little bit. And this is a guy that does the Unconquered Podcast. Good, pretty solid podcast, typically. Smart dude, for sure. Smarter than my dumbass. But this particular tweet I didn't find too smart. Or at least lacking some things. He mentioned how, hey, the personnel's bad, all the transition classes, and that's all true, right? And we were told this by multiple podcasts that, this is probably one of the least talented FSU teams in the last 30, 35 years, something like that. And they weren't being hyperbolic. They were just laying it out there. But you can't send that tweet and then not immediately follow it up with, also the coaching staff has sucked ass. Excuse me, we're seeing it every week, and we saw it in this game. First of all, the end of game numbers, 39 pass attempts, 36 rushes. Now, I could get behind that if the majority of those passes came when we're trying to catch up and we have to throw. But we started throwing at the beginning of the game. We started throwing as much, if not more, than we were running. And I don't get that. That's been a season-long issue. Our running backs are good. They're not elite, but they're good. Ward, Corbin looks like he's about as close as to 100% as he's ever going to be. He's making people miss. He's accelerating. He's running away from people on long TD runs. We saw so far in 4 games, an 89-yarder against Notre Dame, a 75-yarder yesterday. Like, the running game has been successful, but we're not doing it enough, and I don't know why. Why is it taking us a half to realize, we should probably be running it quite a fucking bit? Like, I'm totally all for like a 60-40 split, right? But instead, I'd have to look at season stats. We're probably 50-50, somewhere around there, and I wouldn't be shocked if we passed more than we ran. And I don't get it. I don't get it because, one, Milton's washed, all right? It's a cool story. He came back from injury, but he doesn't have it, right? Our wide receivers don't have it. McLean's like the only viable FSU wide receiver. The others struggle to get separation. Our coaches struggle to, come up with play designs to scheme anybody open. Our pass pro is poor. So why the fuck would we not lean on running when we have solid to good running backs? Our run blocking is decent. I'd say at least half the time, if not more than half the time. We know the pass pro ain't. So why are we continuing to throw Milton back there? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I'm trying to think of other things, and this just hasn't happened in this game. It's happened all year. Excuse me. Our kicker, who we know isn't good. Go look at his stats at FSU. He's not good. I wasn't mad at him for missing that one field goal, right? It was 4th and 5 or less than 5? I immediately was like, please go for it. This isn't a chip shot. This guy hasn't proven to be reliable. Right? Don't throw him out there. Just go for it. Even if you missed it, I wouldn't be pissed because I'd respect the decision. We kicked, we missed. Not mad at the kicker for that. What else do we continue to do? For some reason, even though our DBs are playing poorly, and what's funny is none of them are really like non-athletic. Most of the young guys especially are athletic, but they're not playing good defensive back technique. They're not. And yet, I see a lot of man, maybe more than we should, and guys getting smoked, right? In the second half, we didn't see that as much, but that could have been a byproduct of Louisville, pulling back on deep shots. But I don't understand. Like, when we don't have the personnel, especially at linebacker and DB, why can't we go like Mark Stoops 2010? Just go fucking vanilla ass fucking defense when it comes to coverage, right? Let them have to go 15 plays on you. And Louisville did do that one drive, but let that be a consistent thing you can hang your hat on. Like, hey, we're not going to give up the bomb. We're going to keep shit in front of us. If it's death by 1,000 cuts, it is. But especially versus teams like Louisville, right? I can see maybe being a little more aggressive because you really have no shot against a Clemson or a Florida or something like that. Maybe you go more man, maybe you're dialing up more blitzes. But for like Louisville and teams like that, Louisville's not a very good team. They're not. Let that not very good team beat you by having to go on these long sustained drives. And maybe they will. Fuller is that bad. That's very possible. But I'd rather see that than our DBs looking foolish, right? But, Fuller we can just kind of put in one box. He's bad, right? The defense is bad. At halftime, I think Louisville is averaging like 5.2 yards per play, which for Fuller is good. But generally it's like, excuse me. What else? Not just in this game, but on the season. Oh, we saw more of the 3rd and 4th and short type plays where the guy with one leg tries to pick up the first down. Why do we keep doing that? I don't get it. Why do we keep doing that? Especially with the running backs we have. Like, Travis, sure, if he was healthy. Travis, sure, go ahead. Have him try and get a 3rd and 1. Milton, the guy with one leg? Like, fucking no. And I still am not seeing a ton of slants with our wide receivers. I don't know what's going on, but there's actually a breakdown of this that Brandon Sedone from 24/7 research. And when it comes to slants, we were like a pretty damn small percentage relative to the country. Like teams that run slants, we were pretty far down the list, and I don't get that. Especially considering we don't have elite receivers that can truly burn DBs one-on-one, with posts or goes, right? But yet we're running those. Or we're not seeing, what was it, Ja'Kai Douglas. I haven't seen him since that touchdown bomb. Is he hurt? What's going on there? I don't know. There's like, I'm trying to find something to be like, aha, I see what you're doing here. I get it, but you're really searching to try and defend this staff right now. And look, he's what? 13 games in his career. Right now, based on his 13-game evidence, you cannot confidently say, or even half-ass say, well, I think he's the guy. Why? Tell me why. Maybe he winds up being the guy by year 4. Possible. I don't think it's likely. I think it's actually, highly unlikely, but it's possible. Maybe by year 4, the tides are turning. But right now, I don't see why you can say with any confidence he's the guy. Unless you're just doing it off blind faith, which I'm not going to do. I didn't do it with Willie. I'm not doing it this guy, right? I know some Willie stands, might try and come at me like, you always hated on Willie. Yeah, the same way I'm hating on Mike. And Mike's actually been worse, at least as far as the record goes, right? Like, I fucked with Willie stands because I'm like, the dude wasn't good at FSU and he's gone. I remember in the offseason, one guy asked me, what's your expectations then, Because I would always get tired of seeing the 21 games. I'm like, my expectation is that this year, just like Willie's second, Mike makes a bowl, shows upward trajectory, gives some tangible evidence this program is, slowly on the rise. That's it. I wasn't expecting a big season. I wasn't expecting even a good season. Those are my expectations. He's failing them like times 100. So yes, I'm criticizing Mike quite a bit and his staff now. That's called same energy, folks. You can criticize Mike all day long without mentioning Willie. Some of you Willie stands are worse than the Norvell stands. Right? I did the same fucking thing for Willie. I wanted him to do well. My second season expectations for Willie weren't high. He wasn't meeting them. Now, I didn't think it was smart to fire a guy in his second season because you didn't have your first choice locked up. Like, I think I've been over that. Maybe last week. Like, you fired him, unless you had Stoops in the bag, you probably shouldn't have fired him because then you were left scrambling and searching, and you wound up with what? Your fourth choice, Norvell, right? And so, do I think Norvell should be fired? No, because I'll be making the same mistake twice, right? Unless you tell me, again, that a guy like Stoops is coming, fire Norvell yesterday. But if you're not getting that elite guy with a stupid good resume that immediately, puts your school in the conversation for having a top 10, top 15 coach, then no, you don't fire him season 2. We'll have to let this fucking guy play it out and see what happens, I think his contract is like 5 or 6 years, which is depressing. We'll see. Either he starts really turning it around by year 4, or he's gone. Because I could see a firing after year 4. The buyout's much less at that point. Blah, 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 right? But right now, it's dark times. It's just bad. Like, these subpar players, like these bad FSU players, and they are bad relative to FSU standards, are being consistently put into bad positions. Here's another one. Saw it yesterday, and I've seen it in other games. Our D linemen stunting, and I talked about this on the Listen Up podcast, and you should go follow them. And we all saw the same things. Like, I'm not an X's and O's expert, but I remember watching it. It was probably a third down for Louisville, and JJ, our best player probably, right? Like, you'd think he'd just be up against a tackle, just pinning his ears back, using his speed and power to do what he can do. But he stunted. Okay, fine. People are going to stunt on defense. You do have to switch it up, right? But he stunted where he's like looping around his teammate. And so within 1 to 2 seconds after the snap, he had effectively taken himself out of the play. And that's happened in multiple games by multiple D linemen, where I'm like, okay, I've seen multiple D linemen do this same exact stunt. Not where it's like, again, I'm no expert, but, when I watch NFL football and I see stunts, or, good college football teams that know what they're doing, usually, it seems like he's just kind of, sliding behind his teammates, ass. Not looping 2 to 3 yards back, taking yourself out of play, which is what he did. Our best player took himself out of the play on that stunt. So they being taught that? Like, could go on and on and on. I don't know what's going to change. Like, maybe UMass is a win. Maybe Syracuse is a win. Maybe. 0-12 would not shock me at all. Like, it really wouldn't. I made the joke, and other people have made it too. Like, maybe maybe they think we have to tank to get Travis Hunter. I don't know. It's just bad. I'm trying to think of other just coaching gaffes where I'm like, why? Some people don't like him going for on 4th down. Again, I've said it before in here. I'm pretty aggressive when it comes to 4th down math. Like, if you're anywhere, also, depending on the score too, if you're anywhere near like your own 40 and it's like 4th and like 2 or 3, like, I'm always down for going for it, like, every time. But so I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm less critical of that. But I mean, it's a clown show. It's an absolute clown show. So folks need to just accept reality for what it is. We do have bad players, relative to FSU standards, and part of the reason for that is the transition classes and blah blah blah, right? It's trickled down. It's deteriorated over the past couple of years with coaching changes and blah blah blah, right? But there's also been really bad coaching with these not good players. Like, we should be 2-2 right now. I think that's reasonable to say. Some folks would be like, nah, fuck that. We should be 3-1, 4-0. Can you 2-2 really beat Jacksonville State? I don't know. Play prevent on the last play of the game. Beat a team like Louisville at home. I'm not even going to count the Notre Dame game, which was close, right? So it's just dark days, and I don't know how many times can say the same things, because that's how it feels every Saturday and every Sunday. It's like seeing the same dumb shit over and over again. I mean, I will give us credit, I guess. Few penalties yesterday. I guess there's that. I don't know what to say. And I'm over seeing Milton. I'm done. Like, I would assume Purdy would probably be bad if he came in, but at least give me a look. Give me something to look forward to watching to his development, Maybe he doesn't start and take every snap, but maybe he gets 3 series each half. Give me something. I want to see if he's gotten any better since last year. Give me something. And we know at least he can run, right? I think. Unless he's hurt too again. I don't know. It's rough. It's going to be rough for quite a while. That's really all you can say. So, appreciate all the comments that you guys have been leaving and all the views, which for me is, if I get 100 plus views, it's pretty sweet. Not some big channel. So I appreciate anyone that watches or comments. So my nose is stuffed like a bitch because it's the morning. All right, well, I'll see y'all probably next Sunday, man. Have a good one.